to see you all this rainy Monday evening. Welcome again. I am Farrah Glenn, President of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force. Today we honor the first African American elected to public office in the city of Southfield, the former city councilwoman, the founder of the MLK Task Force, the former executive director of the Detroit Renaissance District Peace Center at Hope United Methodist Church, the former member of the Magnolia Neighborhood Board, the author, and the woman fondly known as the mother of civil rights in Southfield, Mrs. Barbara E. Talley. This tribute is so well deserved, as Barbara has dedicated over 40 years of her life to the fight for social justice and community activism in Southfield. She has been instrumental in the advancement of human rights and civil rights and provides an example to all of us why community is so important. She has impacted so many lives and lent her tremendous talents to various organizations. This is evidenced by the many sponsors, community organizations, and volunteers that help coordinate today's celebration, and also the guests in attendance. We have a wonderful program with a few surprises, so without further ado, I bring to you our Master of Ceremony, the Honorable Kinston Cyber, Mayor of Southfield.
Good afternoon, everyone. And what a special afternoon, very special afternoon for a very, very special lady. I have known Barbara, probably one of the longest of those of you assembled here today. She moved into Magnolia neighborhood, the best neighborhood in Southfield, in 1971, and because she was there, I followed her a year later. And I was involved in the neighborhood association, and Barbara joined, and that began a very long series of collaborations with Barbara and Al and the rest of the family. So it's really very, very special to have this event today, and honestly, honestly, someone that really, really deserves the recognition. We have a very big program, as you can see, and that's a testament to Barbara, because a lot of people wanted to come and participate and have a few words. So sitting right up in front are our timekeepers, and we ask that you observe the time limits that have been given. We don't have an orchestra to drown you out. We don't have a hook, but I've been tasked with doing a gentle tap on the shoulder. So without further ado, I'm going to call up I'm on the wrong page. I'm going to call up Reverend Kevin Smalls from Hope United Methodist Church. Reverend Smalls?
My job in this instance is to offer our invocation, and because Mrs. Talley was a supporter for every single one, we invite all faith traditions, whatever yours may be, to join in this moment of prayer. Let us pray. Oh God, for this beautiful rainy Monday, we do thank you. We thank you for the occasion to which you have called us. We thank you for the gift of recognition and the gift of being able to honor, to replenish, to pour into one who has given so much to so many. We thank you for the one you have called, and we thank you for all of her efforts, her work, her care, her concern, and we especially thank you for her commitment to the work of peace. And so as we gather to honor her, we certainly pray for your intervention in areas in our world where peace is absent. And thank you, O God, for all those that have gathered. Bless our time, bless our togetherness, and bless our celebration. We pray this. Amen.
And now, words from Councilman Brightwell, Daniel Brightwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Welcome, everyone. This is a very special occasion for the city of Southfield and for everyone who has had the honor of meeting Mrs. Barbara Talley. I first met Ms. Talley in 2005 when I was appointed treasurer of the Martin Luther King Task Force. Ms. Talley and I would meet regularly at my kitchen table to go over documents that related to the grants she had acquired and or other financial activities of the Martin Luther King Task Force. Other activities being, for example, we financed Martin Luther King's personal lawyer's trip to Southfield to speak, his personal lawyer being Fred Gray. And Mr. Gray gave some significant insight to Dr. King and also about the movement at that period of time. It was through those interactions I learned Barbara to be a very professional, honorable, and humble person. Her humbleness was exhibited in an April email to me. When she got wind that Dorothy Dean, Roger Goose, the mayor, and I were planning this recognition, she asked, "Dan, why are you doing this?" So can you just imagine how many friends we have would ask, "Why aren't you doing this?" You know, those kind of things. So with respect to the time, and I understand we had a long program, but I do want to make sure that everyone get an opportunity to speak. So ladies and gentlemen, relax and help us recognize this very humble citizen of Southfield. Thank you.
And now for some Delta love, I'm going to call up Kimberly Calloway, the president of the Southfield Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you. Greetings, everyone. I am Kimberly Owens Calloway, proud president of the Southfield Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And thank you. We are very honored to be a part of this celebration for the Honorable Barbara E. Talley. She is one of us, and we are so proud of her. And when we learned that the city wanted to recognize her, we could not sit down. We had to become a premier sponsor along with the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force. So we are very happy to be here honoring her. We're glad that you came out to support her and all of her wonderful contributions to the city of Southfield and the state of Michigan. So again, welcome and enjoy.
And next we have a soloist, Chiara Clayton. Ms. Clayton?
Thank you. 1, 2, 1, 2. Thank you very much. This is dedicated to our Superwoman of the Day. nothing seems complete. I wake up and I'm searching for the better part of me. I hang my head from sorrow,
So much.
the state of humanity.
And so,
I wear it on my shoulders, trying to find the strength in me.
why is that?
'Cause I am a superwoman. Yes, I am. And yes, she is. And even when I'm a mess, still put on a vest with an S on my chest. Oh yes, I'm a superwoman.
This is
For all the mothers fighting for better days to come.
they coming.
And all my women sitting here trying
So hard.
to come home before the sun.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And all my sisters are coming together to say yes I will, and yes we can. 'Cause I am a superwoman. Yes I am, and yes she is. 'Cause women when I'm a mess, still put on a vest with an S on my chest. Oh yeah, I'm a superwoman. Yeah, come on y'all. When I'm breaking down and I can't be found, 'cause I start to get weak, but no one knows that underneath these clothes I can fly, and we can fly. Oh, 'cause I am a superwoman. Yes, we are.
Yes, you are.
And yes, she is. And even when I'm a mess, still put on a vest with an S on my chest. Oh yeah, I'm a superwoman. Oh, let me tell you, I'm a superwoman. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about it.
'Cause even when I'm a mess, still put on a vest with an S on my chest. Oh yeah, I'm a superwoman.
Yes,
We are superwoman. Come on, girl. I see you, superwoman. Come on, everybody. We want to give honor today to Southfield royalty. I don't know her personally, but Miss Talley,
that's right.
from what I've heard about you, thank you for your
Say
service.
what? Yes.
Thank you for your dedication, and thank you for making
That's
this
right.
community and this world a better place. God bless. Thank you.
We had quite a few individuals to RSVP, and so what I will do, I will recognize elected officials by category. And so from the U.S. House of Representatives, we had RSVP from Ms. Debbie Dingle, and also Ms. Rashida Tlaib, and also our retired Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence. And as I indicated, we'll be doing it in category. I will not be calling names for the rest. But from the state of Michigan elected officials, we have individuals from the state Senate. We have individuals from the U.S. House of Representatives. We also have individuals from the state school board. And from the Oakland County elected officials, this will include judges. We have commissioners who are from Oakland County. We have judges from Oakland County. And we have other individuals who are elected from Oakland County. So if you're here from Oakland County, please stand. And also from the Southfield City Council, we're represented by the City Council. I would like, please stand, all council members. And other elected officials in the city of Southfield. That include judges. And also school board members. I think we have school board members here from the city of Southfield. And we had RSVPs from the Lathrop Village Mayor and City Council. If you're present, please stand. We also had RSVPs from the city of Pontiac. If you're here, please stand, being the mayor and elected officials. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any category that I did not mention that you're an elected official, please stand and be recognized. Well, seeing that we have covered. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a long program, and please enjoy this program for this very wonderful woman. Thank you.
And now we move into the part of our program of congratulatory remarks, and heading that off is Superintendent of Southfield Public Schools, Dr. Jennifer Martin Green.
Thank you. As mentioned, I am Dr. Jennifer Green, Superintendent of the Southfield Public School District. On behalf of the Board of Education and the entire district community, it is indeed my honor and privilege to be here this afternoon as we commemorate, congratulate, recognize, and honor our Mother of Civil Rights in Southfield, Mrs. Barbara Talley. Mrs. Talley's 4 decades of consistent, steadfast, and dedicated community, human, and civil rights activism, volunteerism, and many, many other noteworthy services and work as a leader on the local, state, national, and international level are definitely worthy of this recognition. It demonstrates and epitomizes her love and passion for equality and justice for all. Mrs. Talley, as a faithful supporter of the Southfield Public School District, as well as the role model for our students, families, staff, and community, always demonstrating and promoting education, peace, brotherhood, and nonviolence. We are grateful for and sincerely thank Mrs. Talley for her many years of partnership and support. Mrs. Talley's life and legacy, from being the first African American elected to the Southfield City Council to being the 1985 founder of the Southfield Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force, is truly noteworthy. When one hears, thinks, or sees the name Barbara Talley, what would probably come to mind for many would be Barbara, the beautiful activist who's respected, bold, accomplished, and resolute. And most importantly, she's authentic. Not to mention Talley, who's tenacious, auspicious leader, who's loyal, and definitely young at heart. We salute you, Mrs. Talley.
Thank you, Dr. Green. Now, Judge Kamisha Gant is with us this afternoon, and she's the immediate past president of the Association of Black Judges of Michigan. Judge Gant.
Good afternoon, everybody. Ooh, I made it just in time. I had a court hearing, so I didn't know if I was going to make it here in time, but I am. So, good afternoon. My name is Kamisha Gant. I'm an Oakland County Circuit Court judge. I'm the immediate past president of the Association of Black Judges of Michigan, and I'm a City of Southfield resident. And I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize the Honorable Barbara Talley for her tremendous impact in the community, which is demonstrated through her strong leadership and dedicated service to the public. Mrs. Talley, more commonly known as the Mother of Southfield, was the first African American elected to a public office in Southfield, and that was in 1983. In 1983, she was elected to serve on City Council, and she was also the first African American to run for mayor for the City of Southfield. Mrs. Talley is a trailblazer. She paved the way for and inspired many other African American elected officials, such as myself, to hold a public office. Mrs. Talley's many accomplishments include a commitment to the advancement of African Americans and women in society. While serving on the Southfield City Council for 2 terms, Mrs. Talley initiated an affirmative action plan to hire minority police, fire, management personnel, and to elevate women in city government. She founded the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force in 1986, which is the first to host a peace walk or a march in the state, and it also continues to be the largest in the state of Michigan. She's an author. She's engaged in various civic organizations. She's received numerous awards for her service to the community and is a member of the most dynamic national public service organization that I also belong to, which is Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So, thus on this day, I would like to congratulate Mrs. Talley for her many years of service, civil rights activism, volunteer efforts, and notable accomplishments and contributions. Thank you so much, Mrs. Talley. Thank you.
You arrived just in time. Talk about timing. Yeah, put your things down, take a minute, take a breath. This is my predecessor, former Mayor Brenda Lawrence, and retired member of the United States House of Representatives. I told Brenda when she went to Washington she was going to see a lot of history. She saw a lot more than any of us imagined. The floor, madam.
Thank you. It is with such honor and pride that I stand here today to honor an amazing woman. So seldom, hello sorors, how are you? And all my other Greek sisters, how are y'all doing? It is so seldom that in your lifetime, the person who broke the glass ceiling, who put a dent in the shield, who paved the way, that you have the opportunity to say thank you. So many of you know my political journey: school board, city council, mayor, and the U.S. House of Representatives. But there was a time in this city where you did not see people who look like me in elected office. We look at our city now, how diverse and beautiful it is, and we kind of take it for granted. But there was a time in our history where a woman stood up and said, I'm gonna run for a position where you've never seen a woman, you've never seen an African American. She did that pushing through stereotypes. She did it pushing through racism and other isms. But she stood up with nothing more than strength and a belief in a better democracy and equal opportunity. So Barbara Talley, I want you to know that I never take a step without understanding I am standing on your platform. I am standing here because of you. And I often think about the courage that it took for her. And I never want to speak about her brilliance and her strength and her faith without recognizing the man who stood behind her and beside her and in front of her during that whole period. And we, as the city of Southfield, we are blessed because of her commitment, not only just to us, but for so many policies and laws that make this city one that we can walk in. I brag around the country about how great the city of Southfield and our diversity and how we can show anyone who sits back and say it can't work. We make it work. We make it work. We make it work with our Jewish community, our Chaldean community, our white community, our black community. I just had a gentleman last night, and I know I have 2 minutes. I just had a gentleman last night who was a business owner. He walked up to me. He said, you know, I often tell people I grew up in Southfield, and I knew I could be anything because I saw black principals, teachers, lawyers, doctors, business owners. And I saw Jewish people, and I didn't hate them. They were my neighbor. I saw white people, and we lived together. He said, so I grew up free of prejudice and free of the bondage that so many of my brothers and sisters held. So God bless you. I love you. And we are a better place because of you. I know I am.
We now move into the part of our program, Family and Other Matters. We all know that somebody said that Barbara's humble. She can be humble, but she's also, as all of you know, she's very persistent. She's driven. And I remember back in 1985 when she called me up and said, I'm forming a task force and to carry the message of Dr. Martin Luther King, peace, brotherhood, and nonviolence. And she tapped me to be at her side, and we've worked that for 38 years and still going strong. So, and messengers of peace are her daughters, so
Good afternoon. My name is Patricia Ann Talley. Mama calls me her crazy daughter from Mexico.
Hello, and my name is Ashlyn Talley. I'm the second born I live here in Michigan. Thank you for joining us today. We were granted 5 minutes in the program, and with that in mind, we thought we would share some of our fondest memories growing up with our mom, Barbara Talley.
First, her name is Barbara Edith Talley, E-D-I-T-H-E, with the E on the end because Grandma misspelled it.
See, Patricia was here for the origin portion of the story. Me, I grew up with a mom, much like many others, that worked full-time during the day. Only my mom, at the cloak of dusk, much like a superhero, slipped out to wage her campaign for truth, justice, and the American way. Back at the mansion, just as Batman had his Alfred, as a resource to leverage, so did my mother have me. As a youth and teen arriving home from school, I was often left with very detailed but crucial assignments to fulfill before Mom arrived back to the lair and before the bat signal, or I should say the barb signal, was cast to the sky. Recently undidacted and declassified, I did my best to recreate and share some of my most memorable assignments with you. Here is one such sampling. Assignment 562. Lynn, clean the bathroom, sink, toilet, and scrub the shower. Sweep and mop kitchen floor and basement stairs. Perform these tasks as if the free world and your allowance depends on it.
I brought reinforcement, Grandma Lois, just in case Mama picks on me. Mama, let's put this in perspective. Mother's great-grandmother was a slave. Her mother, Grandma Lois, my Grandma Lois, bent on her knees and cleaned floors and did domestic work for white women so that Mama could go to school. Mama is the first woman in our family who did not do domestic work. You got a list?
I picked up where she left off. Assignment 628, Lynn, dust and polish furniture in both the dining and living room. Move clothing from washer and dryer into the dryer. Why are you still standing here reading? This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. Get a move on.
One of her favorite sayings that I remember, Patricia, we're not going to tell your daddy about this, are we?
My next assignment. Assignment 322. Lynn, vacuum carpets in the living room. Take out trash and make sure snow is removed from the landing pad. By the way, which cape do you think works best for me, the black one or the red one?
My favorite story about my mama, we would go shopping together all the time. Daddy was on the road. He was an executive in the fast food service industry, so I was always hanging out with Mama. And we'd go to this department store, and she'd get preoccupied and go off and leave me. So she taught me to go to the customer service desk and say, lost child. Well, I got hip. I went to the customer service desk. I wouldn't say lost mama.
I have one last note, and coincidentally, this seems to be written today. As today we gather here to celebrate the remarkable journey of your life, Mom. Both of us feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude and pride. You have been an extraordinary role model, embodying the true essence of selfless dedication while making a profound impact to our lives and the lives and the world around you. Our love for you has no boundaries, and we hold you dearer in our hearts than words can express. And for me, I will be on the lookout by sky, email, or carrier pigeon as the next alert might arrive to set in full motion my next assignment.
And I'm going to tell Daddy.
All right, and now some words from the man of the hour, Al Talley. Do you know that Al and Barbara met in middle school, wasn't it? Grade school. He followed her. And obviously he won her over.
Thank you. Well, I have a task of presenting Barbara with these flowers. And it's kind of funny because she's very inquisitive. And all the last couple of weeks, she's been saying, "What are you going to do at the event?" And I said, it's none of your business what I'm going to do. So anyway, she believe it or not, she knew what we were going to present her. So, Barbara. I think I know Barbara better than anybody here. After 73 years, I think I should know her pretty well.
Look over there. Look over there.
Moving on to Martin Luther King, which has been a central part of Barbara's life, and for many of us, Barbara Selden and Dorothy Dean for a special presentation.
Hello, everyone. I'm Barbara Selden, an unofficial, non-appointed advocate for the city of Southfield. That's my title. I am really honored to be here today in celebration of such a wonderful person, Miss Barbara Talley. When I think of her, I think about Dr. Gilbert Wren, a psychologist, who said, "There is no real pleasure in getting or having. Real pleasure is in giving, and you should give without the need for reciprocity." That's how I think of Miss Talley, because she has been such a phenomenal mentor in my life. When I think about her, I think about so much that she's given me in terms of her thoughts and watching her in terms of her deed. I enjoyed going 3 times to Ixtapas, Guatemala, Guerrero, Mexico, with her for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force Peace Program. And I remember how she made that comment about me, "Just let her sing, she'll go anywhere." And she's right, I enjoy singing, but more than that, I love the relationship that we've had together, especially in Dr. Martin Luther King, but in how she helped me to become a really good citizen in the United States.
Thank you, Barbara. You're welcome. I too thank you, Barbara, for your 40 years of amazing service to the community. We are so fortunate to have a leader with such insight and passion, and that you were able to keep the dream alive. Thank you for an amazing journey. This token of appreciation is to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
And now she'll have to open the presentation. Oh, I'm opening it. So when you open it, you just have to keep pulling and pulling it down, okay? So take the top off. I'm gonna hold the box, and I want you to take this. Wait a minute. Hold on. And I wish you could hear me, but I want to say before you pull, hold on. Just 1 second. Before she pulls it, I want you to say that she is immeasurably valuable to us. We can't begin to give her what she truly deserves. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. It is my pleasure to be standing here as such a tribute. We're very proud to present you with this short video presentation tribute to Barbara Talley in photo and in words by the MLK Task Force.
As you can imagine, to fit 40 years of a person's life in 15 minutes or less is a daunting task. But of course, we rose to the occasion.
We could only provide highlights of some of the numerous projects and programs conducted by the task force under the guidance of Ms. Barbara Talley.
Threaded together, these words and images chronicle the impact of Barbara Talley and is a testament to the life and legacy of our own mother of civil rights. So sit back, relax, and enjoy a tribute to the Honorable Barbara Talley.
Greetings, I am Barry Glenn, president of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force. Welcome to this very special tribute to former City Councilwoman Barbara Talley. In 1983, she was the first African American elected to public office in Southfield. She was sworn in and served 2 terms on the City Council. As councilwoman, she worked to ensure fair representation of all citizens. Barbara is fondly called the mother of Southfield. Her mentor and role model was the late Irma Henderson. In 1985, Councilwoman Barbara Talley called residents together and formed a committee and planned for the occasion to remember the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as the first national holiday recognizing King's birthday. The committee planned the first peace walk for a 1-mile walk down Civic Center Drive from North Congregational Church, which is now Hope United Methodist Church, culminating with a program at the Southfield Pavilion. Barbara and Reverend Mark Jensen of North Congregational Church were the first chairpersons of the Peace Walk. Peace statements were signed by more than 400 walkers and sent to world leaders. The Peace Walks continue to grow each year and continues to be one of the largest annual events in the metropolitan area. Barbara was the executive director of the Detroit Renaissance District Peace Center, headquartered at Hope United Methodist Church. She is also an author of a book called Pathways to Interfaith Dialogue, an innovative model for peace and community building.
Hi, I'm Deidre Hobbs, the past first vice president of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force. In 2014, the King Center for Nonviolent Social Change called upon all cities and task force to hold bell-ringing ceremonies to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the death of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The task force planned and held a bell-ringing ceremony outside of the Southfield City Hall. The event was kicked off with greetings from Barbara Talley, City Councilman Dr. Kenson Seibert, and others. The NAACP and other local organizations joined the activities, and the city's official bell was rung by 2 community members who attended the very first march in Washington, D.C., where Dr. King delivered his I Have a Dream speech.
Hello, I'm Barbara Selden, Financial Secretary for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force. In 2011, the task force hosted a delegation from Ixtapa, Zihuatanejo, Guerrero, Mexico, to learn more about African American culture in the United States. MLK representatives participated in the Zihuatanejo, Guerrero, Mexico annual Peace Walk and were presented with the Peace Award for the organization's peace efforts and international collaboration. As a result of the Mexico trip, the idea of an exhibit was born. While in Mexico, the students made special presentations welcoming the task force to Mexico. The task force participated in the peace programs in Mexico. Barbara Talley was the project director of the exhibit, Pathways to Freedom in the Americas, shared experiences between Michigan, the United States, and Guerrero, Mexico. In 2012, the exhibit was unveiled at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, culminating the task force 2-year educational project between African Americans and Mexicans. After 3 months at the museum, the exhibit traveled to Detroit metropolitan area libraries, universities, corporate offices, and is duplicated in Mexico. The exhibit is currently on loan to the World Beat Museum in San Diego, California. The exhibit is 25 feet long and takes over 16 hours to see.
Hello, I'm Roger Woolsey, and I've been an active member of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force for over 20 years. I'm also a past president and served as the first youth leadership director for the task force. In 2003, the task force kicked off its King nonviolence and peacemaking educational programs for middle and high school students in Southfield, Farmington Hills, Livonia, Detroit, and Bloomfield Hills, utilizing trained volunteers from Atlanta's Nonviolent Social Change Center. Barbara Talley was active in conducting workshops with the MLK Youth Peacemakers, a component that was formed for young people to take an active role in carrying out the legacy of Dr. King. Barbara spoke directly with and to the students. Students held a mock session as Hillary Clinton debating at a presidential campaign debate. While I was president of the task force in 2019, the second Freedom Ride occurred. In 2020, the first virtual event held was a discussion on police reform and re-imaging police in Dr. King's vision after the death of George Floyd. I was in attendance when Barbara received a proclamation for her work from the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. Our youth programs continue today. An annual program occurs under the watchful eye of Barbara Talley.
Hello, my name is Erica Perryman, and I am the newly elected first Vice President of the Dr. Martin Luther King Task Force. In 2014, the task force attended the Ford Motor Company Freedom Gala at the Fox Theater. One of the recipients of the Ford Freedom Award was the late Viola Louisa, whom the task force featured at its 2014 Peace Walk program as the first white female to die during the Civil Rights Movement while supporting Dr. King. Viola Louisa's daughter invited Barbara Talley and other members to the event. The task force held a special memorial the following January as part of pre-King Day celebration activities in honor of Viola Louisa. Viola Louisa was a Michigander and is buried in the Southfield Holy Sepulchre Cemetery in Southfield.
Hi, I'm Dorothy Dean, past president of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force. The task force started in 2014 working on a publication documenting the work of its 30 years of existence. Barbara Talley and Dr. Ken Siver served as the project managers for the publication 30 years, The Drum Major Beat, The Audacity to Make a Difference. The publication is the documented history of the first annual Peace Walk in Michigan. Dr. Ken Siver is the editor of the publication. A special book signing was held for the publication. In further preparation for the 30th anniversary celebration, nationally acclaimed artist James Spearman was commissioned to create a sculptured bust of Dr. King. The placement of the bust in the Southfield Library was approved by the library board, and an historical unveiling occurred on April 15, 2015. The bust remains placed in the lobby of the Southfield Library near a statue of Mark Twain. This was an historic day as the first known bust or statue in honor of Dr. King in the state of Michigan was placed in a public building.
Hello, I'm Sheila Johnson, Chief Judge of the 46th District Court.
I was the first vice president of the task force during our 30th anniversary festivities, and I was also the organizer of the Peace Walk program and other festivities. For the 30th anniversary celebration of the task force, we wanted to make a sensational, memorable, and historical program to celebrate the task force achievement by bringing one of the freedom fighters who significantly contributed to the civil rights movement. Our keynote speaker was world-renowned attorney Fred D. Gray. Attorney Gray was the attorney for the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks during the civil rights movement. Attorney Gray gained national notoriety for facilitating the completion of the march from Selma to Montgomery when he went to federal court and obtained an order requiring the police to allow the civil rights activists to peacefully march from Selma to Montgomery after their deadly assault by police on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, known as Bloody Sunday, which occurred the previous day. Attorney Gray went on to desegregate the school system in the Alabama courts through litigation. He successfully represented the plaintiffs involved in the Tuskegee syphilis study and now has created a civil rights museum in Alabama. For his efforts, Attorney Gray was awarded the nation's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, by President Biden in July 2022. The task force hosted a book signing for Mr. Gray and his biographical book entitled Bus Ride to Justice at Lawrence Technological University on the weekend of the Dr. King's birthday celebration. As a special treat for the 30th anniversary, the Queen of Soul, Ms. Aretha Franklin, made a special appearance on the Peace Walk program, where she sang and spoke of her involvement in the civil rights movement. Our local American Idol sensation, Malaya Watson, made a special appearance and also performed at the event.
Hello, my name is Rosemary Allen, and I am the newly elected Correspondence Secretary for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force, and have been an active member of the task force for over 20 years. I have the pleasure of being a chaperone for the first educational Martin Luther King Task Force Freedom Ride in 2017. A total of 27 middle and high school students from Wayne and Oakland counties participated in the Freedom Ride. Students learned of the civil rights movement and its meaning. Stops included the National African American Museum of History in Washington, D.C. and Howard University, the King Center for Nonviolent Social Change in Atlanta, Georgia, and Spelman College, the Muhammad Ali Museum in Louisville, Kentucky, and the Civil Rights Museum and Lorraine Hotel, where Dr. King was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee, while standing on the balcony.
Hi, I'm Ida Cunningham, Chair of the Dr. Martin Luther King Food Drive. The task force held its first food drive in January 2021 as a result of the pandemic. Over 250 families were provided with food boxes thanks to the generosity of the community business sponsors and Gleaners Food Bank. The food drive continued this year, and over 180 food boxes were provided to local residents, veterans, and senior citizens. Forgotten Harvest and community organizations provided overwhelming support. The local police department participated this year and helped pack cars during the food drive. The Peace Walk was attended by over 800 participants who marched from Hope United Methodist Church to the pavilion where over 1,200 participants participated in the program at Southfield Pavilion in person this year.
Hello, my name is Sharita Watson. I am the second Vice President of the Dr. Martin Luther King Task Force. In 2009, The Youth Service Awards was initiated to recognize youth and their community volunteer work. For the past 14 years, the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force has held several award programs. In 2019, the Youth Leadership Education Program completed local training provided by the King Center staff from Atlanta, Georgia. Students attended received certificates for the King Center. A Take a Stance Against Bullying workshop was conducted. Youth programs are held every year and made available to local students.
Hello, my name is Darla Van Hoyt, and I'm the president of the Southfield Historical Society. Barbara Talley has been sharing her love of history with the Southfield Historical Society for several years. She has portrayed Harriet Tubman for both second grade school children and for senior citizens. In 2021, during the first Juneteenth celebration in Southfield, Barbara again played Harriet Tubman by asking the question about when would her portrait be on the $20 bill. Barbara and Al presented the history of the Underground Railroad during Black History Month for Southfield Parks and Recreation. Additionally, Barbara was active in preparing the mannequins for the Potawatomi exhibit at the Town Hall. She also helped make a Potawatomi ash basket and participated in a Potawatomi water ceremony in 2019.
You know, I think one of the things that has to be underscored here, many people thought that the Martin Luther King Task Force was just about organizing the annual walk. And it's been so much more, as the video points out. And much to Barbara's credit has been the emphasis on youth, the continuing education, the appreciation of those things that have come before, and how we promote and continue to support brotherhood, peace, and nonviolence. We're now moving into the tributes portion of our program, and we have with us Dr. Paulina Drake, the president of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, Phi Tau Omega chapter. I was tongue-tied on that one, sorry. You do great work.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Paulina Drake, president of Pi Tau Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, housed in Southfield, Michigan. And we put together a little video tribute. Look to your left and your right. Dr. Paulina Drake, president of Pi Tau Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, located in the city of Southfield. Thank you, Mrs. Barbara Talley. You are the first African American councilwoman for the city of Southfield and a trailblazer. You helped to pave the way for other African Americans to work in the city of Southfield in their government and municipal positions. You are a maverick leader, a woman who was able to see the bigger picture, and you recognize where a change of the system could bring about a greater collective good. You were willing to take risks and forge a path that was not already there. So from the first African American Greek letter sorority, the sorority sisters of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Pi Tau Omega chapter says to you, Mrs. Barbara E. Talley, a heartfelt collective thank you and congratulations. So we wanted to say thank you for your service, your maverick leadership, and for being the first. Thank you.
And we're going to bring back Kimberly Calloway from the Delta Sigma Theta sorority of Southfield.
Hello again. As we talk about first, the Southfield Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is the first African-American organization in the city of Southfield, and we would, thank you. And we are so proud that the Honorable Barbara Edith Talley is one of us. And I would like to present you with a token of appreciation from the Southfield Alumni Chapter. We have here today our charter members and our officers, our first Vice President, Venus J. Brown, and our second Vice President, Yolanda N. Durfield, are seated over there with our charter members. Would every Delta in the house please stand? Would you join me? I would like to present you with this plaque that states the Southfield Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated proudly congratulates our soror Barbara E. Talley, Southfield's Mother of Civil Rights, for being the founding member of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force Incorporated and serving as a pillar for equality and justice in the city of Southfield and the state of Michigan. Thank you for your spirit of servitude and the continuous positive impact you have left and had on our community. Presented today, June 26, 2023. We love you. Thank you so much. Look at here. Show it here. Put it in here for you. I'm getting all kinds of things today.
And now from Hope United Methodist Church, the Peace Center, I'm going to invite back Reverend Smalls and Louis Samuel.
I just want to say much thanks to, at Hope, we affectionately say Sister Talley, and Hope is a place of much love and joy and peace. When a new preacher comes to town, that preacher often relies on guidance from some in the congregation, and let me assure you that Mrs. Talley was most helpful to me. I want to thank you for the historical scoop on Southfield. I want to thank you for setting up all these meetings with city officials. By way of introduction, I grew up in a very, very, very political town, and I've seen all kind of politicians. And let me say, I haven't seen many to be able to stand as tall as Mrs. Barbara Talley. So we are so grateful for her witness. And I want to watch my timekeeper as most preachers should. But we're also grateful for her work with the interfaith community and how she brings so many people together. We thank God for that witness and that work and those efforts. I would like, if possible, the home church, the religious community, the faith community of Mrs. Barbara Talley, Hope United Methodist Church, if you can stand in solidarity and in support of your own Mrs. Barbara Talley. And to say more about the wonderful work of the peace community, we invite Brother Louis Samuel to come.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all here. My name is Louis Samuel, and I'm the current director of the Peace Center located at Hope United Methodist Church. It is my honor to have been a part of Barbara's vision in 2004 to create the Detroit Renaissance District Peace Center. The Peace Center's mission was to cover a broad range of peace and justice issues which would aid us all to coexist, interact peacefully, and work together for the advancement of humankind. Under Barbara's leadership and guidance, we established interfaith dialogues and sought to encourage other churches to become Peace with Justice certified. The Peace Center engaged in many peacemaking and peace-building efforts over the years. In 2013, Barbara and her daughter Pat created an international connection by establishing a peace educational program in Mexico with the assistance of the Mexican government. On a personal note, I have always treasured Barbara Talley as my mentor and my friend. Barbara, I have always admired you for your boundless energy, commitment, and leadership. Your lifelong efforts to promote the concept of peace and understanding in our community and the world leaves us truly in awe of your grace and your love. For this, we simply thank God for you and the positive impact you've had on all of our lives. May you and your family enjoy this very special day. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I first met Barbara about 20 years ago, actually. My children participated in the Peace Walk as the future peace civil rights leaders of America. And we went to her house for rehearsals, and I was so impressed. I was like, wow, this woman is awesome. I've got to be a part of this organization. And from that point on, my family made it a habit, a tradition, that's how we celebrated MLK Day. Then shortly thereafter, probably 5 years later, we joined Hope, and there she was. And she's been encouraging and inspiring me personally ever since. And I'm just so proud to be a part of her organization, to be her church member, and to call her a friend. And I'm just really grateful for Barbara E. Talley. In 1985, Councilwoman Barbara Talley called Southfield residents together to form a committee to plan activities to commemorate the life and legacy of Dr. King, and thus the task force was born. Her and other charter members held Southfield's first Peace Walk on January 20th of 1986. In this past January, we celebrated our 38th program. From that first march, the task force has continued to grow as it now offers year-long educational and community activities, recognizes and celebrates adults and youth for their commitment to community service, offers nonviolence and leadership training for youth through our nonviolence and peacemaking educational programs. Under Barbara's tutelage, we have greatly increased the task force activities. In 2004, we established a scholarship program to help youth pursue their educational dreams. In 2017, we held our first educational MLK Task Force Freedom Ride, which you saw in the video, which offered students the opportunities to learn and explore more about the civil rights movement. In 2021, the task force upped their commitment to serving the community by hosting a community food giveaway, which will remain a part of our MLK Day commitment to service. Through it all, Barbara has been offering guidance and support for each endeavor and advancement made by the task force. She continues to participate and guide the organization as an advisory board member, never missing a meeting. Zoom and all. Thanks to Barbara, the city of Southfield was the first city in the state of Michigan to hold a Dr. King Peace Walk or March, commemorating the first national observation of Dr. King's birthday. Our walks continue to grow in size and scope each year and continues as the largest in the state of Michigan, all due to the foresight of Mrs. Barbara E. Talley. Thanks to her, a whole new generation of kids get to learn more about Dr. King and the civil rights movement. And for that, the task force would like to recognize you with this token, because we love and cherish you, and we can recognize you every day. But just to say thank you again. You're not getting old at all. Oh my goodness, I can't wait till I can move around like you at your age. Oh my goodness. For your outstanding service, this award is presented to you, the Honorable Barbara E. Talley, in recognition of 40 years of exemplary service to the community from the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Various places in Southfield have peace poles, and I'm sure you've noticed the grandest of them all, the three that are in the front of Southfield City Hall on our driveway. And that was through a lot of the efforts of Councilman Lloyd Cruz, who took that on as a council project. So we acknowledge him for that. So next, from the National Congress of Black Women, we have Brenda Chambers-Street, First Vice President.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Brenda Chambers-Street, First Vice Chair of National Congress of Black Women, and I believe we're going to start off with a tribute video.
Congratulations, Barbara Talley, for your extraordinary legacy, your outstanding leadership, and your trailblazing for the African American women of Oakland County, Michigan. National Congress of Black Women salute you for a job well done.
I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to the north. Far across the river, I hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place.
Thank you. I'd like all the members of National Congress of Black Women, Oakland County Chapter, to please stand and acknowledge our tribute to Mrs. Barbara Talley. Mrs. Talley is a charter member of National Congress of Black Women, and on behalf of our chair, Patricia Holton Garrett, and the Oakland County chapter of National Congress of Black Women, it is my honor to present the Honorable Barbara Talley with this plaque. I'm going to read it to you, then I'm going to take it to Mrs. Talley, okay? It says, the National Congress of Black Women, Oakland County Chapter, salutes the Honorable Barbara Talley for her outstanding contributions, leadership, and unwavering service to the Southfield community. We thank you.
You know, we're going to take a minute here to move some of this stuff. I mean, the table's getting kind of full.
Mrs. Talley can sit here, because when we get to the proclamation.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So next up, and all of these, Barbara just has her fingers in so many things, and it's all about networking, and that's why she's been so successful. So one of the other organizations that she's networked with is the Southfield Historical Society. So I want to call up Darla Van Hoy from the Historical Society, our president.
Good afternoon. Yes, I'm Darla Van Hoy, and I'm the president of the Southfield Historical Society. I was doing some research, ran into some documents, and there's an address book from the 1989 Southfield Historical Society, and Barbara and Al were members. It's the earliest, and I was really surprised to find that. Barbara's been a board member for 10 years, and she prepared the exhibit of the Dr. Martin Luther King Task Force at our Town Hall Museum long before our current board was formed. In 2013, Barbara shared her Granny Bunch photo for the Underground Railroad exhibit. She worked on the brochure. I think she printed it and portrayed Harriet Tubman for scores of Southfield second grade students. Barbara has this innate ability to see what people are capable of. She engages us to be the best we can be. She's quiet about her ability, at least with me. I heard someone say she was persistent, but she just believes in us. She offers ideas and knows that we will follow through. And she works harder than anyone else to complete the task. In 2017, Barbara told us about a $500 mini grant we could apply for from the Michigan Humanities Council. This was for our permanent Potawatomi exhibit. She started a fundraising campaign by writing letters to her friends, encouraging them to donate $15 to aid in the research and the grant. She didn't stop there. She and Al traveled to Canada to meet with First Nations people to gain some insight into where the Potawatomi who are here, where they may have gone. My favorite photo of Barbara, you could have seen over here, was when she was adding the loops on the Potawatomi black ash basket that we had at the library. She doesn't expect us to go it alone. She helps all along the way. Barbara Talley and her husband Al are a joy to be with, and we love them both dearly. Thank you. Thank you so much, Barbara, for all you've given us.
Our next speaker couldn't be with us today, Reverend Carlisle Fielding Stewart III of Empowerment Church, but we do have a video, I'm told. He's here electronically, all right?
My name is Reverend Carlisle Stewart, formerly senior pastor at Hope United Methodist Church, now serving at the Empowerment Church in Southfield, Michigan. So happy to have this opportunity to be with you today to speak a few words of tribute to our dearly beloved Barbara Talley, leader, peacemaker, someone that I've known for well over 30 years, and has always been a shining light in the midst of our circumstances, illuminating the glow of justice and peace, comfort and mercy, grace, and all the good things that we need as human beings living in community. The poet Wordsworth spoke of the happy warrior. We look at Barbara Talley as the happy woman warrior, humble but regal, majestic but with a common touch, fierce as the gusting winds in six directions, but calm as still deep waters. What a great soul. What a great person. What a great family. Thankful to have this opportunity just to say a few words from my heart. That I have met many people in my lifetime, many leaders, men and women of different walks and faiths and outlooks and temperaments. Few rival Barbara in her wisdom, her compassion, her patience and understanding. Someone dedicated not simply to the idea of peace, but the practice of peace. remembering some of the great words of the great John F. Kennedy, our dearly beloved president, that peacemaking is not simply an idea, but a way of life, a way of thinking, a way of being. Few, if any, persons have come close to Barbara in personifying the essence of those ideas. Always thinking ahead, always moving, always acting, always anticipating, but also shaping the world to become what she wants it to become. And I'm grateful to her for those examples. Grateful to her for her willing advocacy, the ways in which she quietly led and spoke truth at critical times, which we need more than ever in this world today. More truth tellers, more peacemakers, more bridge builders, more people able to help to create community and to create those spaces in our world and our beloved country where everyone belongs, where everyone is a person, where everyone has value, that everyone has gifts, and to affirm that and respect that in a way irrespective of race or creed or color or ideology or religion or any other label that we can put on people. I'm grateful today to say these words, which I mean from the bottom of my heart. I claim her too as a mentor who has spoken words of wisdom and life and love to me at critical times of my journey. So we pay tribute to you today, Barbara, to Al, to your family, and to all those who stand with you in this mission of peace as we live out the ideals of love and justice and hope and goodness in real time. Thank you for making a difference. Thank you for providing trailblazing leadership in your work as the first African-American city councilperson of Southfield. And thank you for all of the ways that you have been steady in your presence, in the sharing of your gifts, and in your quest for the kind of world that we all want to see come to pass and want to help to bring to pass as we live these days. God bless you. God keep you. God love you. God cause his face to shine upon you and give you the everlasting peace that you so richly deserve, as you have blessed our lives, added value to it, and given us strength to keep fighting the good fight until all are included in this journey of faith and in this place called the United States of America and the global community. God bless you today. And may this be one of your best days ever. Amen. Amen.
And once again, we'll hear from Jarrett Clayton. Thank you.
Good evening again. When asked to perform for this wonderful occasion, I wanted to end with this song because it's always given me inspiration, and it's always been about empowerment and everything that Mrs. Talley embodies. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you enjoy it.
There's a hero if you're looking
inside your heart. You don't have to be afraid of what you are. There's an answer if you reach into your soul, and the sorrow that you know will melt away. And then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can't survive. When you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong. You finally see the truth. A hero lies in you. It's a long road when you face the world alone. No one reaches out a hand for you to hold. You can find love if you search within yourself, and the emptiness you feel will disappear. And when a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can't survive. When you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong. You finally see the truth, that a hero lies in you. Dreams are hard to follow, but don't let anyone tear them away. Hold on, 'cause there will be tomorrow, and in time you'll find the way. Then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and she cast her fears aside. She knew she would survive. So when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you finally see the truth, that a hero lies in you. A hero lies in her, everybody. Can we stand to our feet? Give her honor, praise, and thanks for her work in this community and what you've done to better us all. A hero lies in you. Thank you.
We now move into the proclamations portion of our program, and to head that off is our Congresswoman, Rashida Tlaib.
Thank you so much, Mayor. It is an honor to be able to do something that a member of Congress can do, is historically put something in the congressional record. It's going to be there in the United States history forever. And so with that, Mother Talley, thank you. Thank you so much for welcoming me with open arms. I know you don't know me yet, but you will, and I will wait for the Barbara signal. As my predecessor will tell you, Congresswoman Lawrence knows, I can be very reactionary, but that's a good thing in some ways. But I want to be able to uplift everything that you've done. And, Mother, a lot of people don't realize it is hard to be the first. And you did it so unapologetically, genuinely yourself, without ever apologizing. And you occupied that space in a way that continued on even after you left office. And you created, again, this movement right here that we see in Southfield that brings all communities together, but really, really uplifts and highlights the legacy of our Black neighbors and continues to, again, be able to do it on the shoulders of those that came before us, not only Dr. King, so many others. You know, Mother, when I do tributes, they only give you so much space. And I try to put everything about Mother Barbara on there, but as you can see, I made sure to document as much as I can. But even hearing today your children, your daughters, speak about you, I think was incredible. If you all felt it, she did an incredible job with them. She was not only our mother of the civil rights here in Southfield. She's an incredible mother, these two amazing women that continue to give back. I met your daughter, Patricia, I think you started talking to me in Spanish or something. I was like, nope, wrong language. But but that's okay. That's okay, Patricia. I loved you right away as soon as you came up to me. It's okay. I know a little bit, a little poquito. But with that, I want to be able to, and you do not have to come up if you don't want to, but I want to be able to give you a congressional record in your honor and now be forever in the 118th Congress. Congratulations. Thank you for everything.
And now, State Senator Jeremy Moss.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Moss. How's it going? Hi, Congresswoman. So I'm going to start off with audience participation. Look to your left, okay? Now look to your right. You are all the people who keep this city running and keep this city thriving and keep this city a premier city in the Detroit and Michigan region. Give yourselves a round of applause. And you are all here because we stand in the legacy of Barbara Talley. We're all here for you. This city moves because Barbara Talley moves it. And I will tell you, you know, and this is not going to be a surprise for any of you who know me. I remember the Barbara Talley for Mayor signs when I was probably about 10 or 11 years old, all around this city. And so I grew up in this reverence of this name, Barbara Talley. And it was one of Brenda Lawrence's campaigns that I was so closely tied with that Congresswoman Lawrence, or Mayor Lawrence at the time, said, you know, we're going to have some phone bankers in for the campaign today. And she listed off the names, and one of the names was Barbara Talley. And I thought, the Barbara Talley is coming in to volunteer for this campaign, and I was tasked with printing out the numbers and printing out the sheets, and I wanted to make sure everything was right for Barbara Talley. And, you know, that is the first time that I met her, but truly, you can grow up through this city and matriculate and be a contributing member of the city, all in the shadow of Barbara Talley and her historic campaign. And when I ran for office and sought your support, which you've been with me every step of the way, you and Al, every campaign in this city is in the shadow of her historic campaign for mayor in this city. So it is an honor as your senator to be able to present you with this tribute on behalf of the state of Michigan. It is a special tribute. I made the font size smaller, Congresswoman, so we could fit everything on it. Because I really wanted to do justice, and it is signed by myself as state senator and our state representative delegation. Jason Hoskins was here, had to step out, Samantha Steckloff, and Natalie Price. It is also signed by Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist and the governor of the state of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer. I want to tell one last thing. In 2020, right before the pandemic, the Martin Luther King program here, the governor came by, as many of you recall, and it was my job to usher her in, and she said, you know, I have so many events today, but I'm here in Southfield because this is an important one for me. She goes, I really have time to make one pass through, and then I got to get out the door. And I said, well, you have to greet and say hi to one important person here. And we had an introduction of the governor to Barbara Talley. So when she signs this, she knows who you are and knows your impact on our community. So it is my pleasure to present you this tribute on behalf of the state of Michigan.
And next, it's my pleasure to introduce from the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, our one and only Janet Jackson.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to steal a little bit what Jeremy, our senator, said, but this time, instead of looking right to left, turn around and look behind you real quickly, because I was in the front. And this auditorium or pavilion is filled. It's filled as much as it's filled on Martin Luther King's birthday. So that speaks to a whole lot. And I just want to say that I want to tell 3 little known facts while I'm up here about the esteemed Ms. Talley and Mr. Talley, because I met them at the same time. I lived down the street from Barbara Talley and around the corner from our now deceased Mayor, Don Fracassi. That's where I moved when I first moved to Southfield to raise my children. And she and her husband solicited me as a young person to help her with her first mayoral campaign. She had already been our city council member and city clerk, but she was running or run for city clerk, and she was running to be mayor. So I had the pleasure and honor to work for her as a resident. So all you sitting out here, people sitting here, remember, you have that opportunity. You have that opportunity to follow in the footsteps of this remarkable woman that kicked doors open for us. So quickly, I want to also share that another little known fact is that Barbara was a trailblazer before Southfield. She was a trailblazer in Oakland County. She was a person that was a financial professional at Oakland County and had rose to great heights before returning to Southfield, correct? To become a council person. So the grounds that we walk on as commissioners, she also opened that door. So just think about that. She started at the county, came to the city, and made a difference. The third thing I want to say is a little more personal, because I was her neighbor. I don't know if you guys know, but Barbara is a harpist. She plays the harp, okay? I have been witness to her playing the harp. Think about angels and harps. This is what we have in our city, an angel that has helped us to be a more inclusive community, a community that is welcoming. She has shown us through her activism that we all can be active and make a better community. So, Ms. Talley, Ms. Honorable Talley, I appreciate you. And I'm just going to read the very end of the proclamation. Do I have time, timekeeper? No? She said no. So I'll just say, the influence of one person that one person has on others can be felt in so many ways. Beyond her public recognitions, Ms. Talley has inspired many community leaders, including myself and the Commissioner Yolanda Smith-Charles, who sits with me on the Board of Commissioners. Whereas, on this occasion of tribute, we join with the Ms. Talley's family, friends, and community to celebrate her outstanding service to all of Oakland County, and especially Southfield. Therefore, David T. Woodward, Chair of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, myself, and our whole entire board do hereby proclaim and commend Barbara E. Talley. We extend our most sincere congratulations and appreciation to her dedication and the mission of the Martin Luther King Task Force. Thank you.
Janet, I don't want to one-up you, but I was on Barbara's 1983 City Council campaign.
Yeah. I wasn't born yet. So, yeah.
Touche. Nancy Quarles, who was a state representative on the Oakland County Commission, and currently she's irrepressible as well, is the chair of the Oakland County Democratic Party. Nancy?
To the Honorable Barbara E. Talley, and to Al, my buddy. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak here. I owe most of what I've done politically to Barbara. I don't know if you remember Barbara, but you and Ann Harp, some of you may remember Ann Harp, talked to me and convinced me to get more involved in the civic and civil activities in Southfield. And you began to open doors for me. From there, I started off as a mere precinct delegate. And from there, you encouraged me to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, the state rep. Every step I took, you were right there with me. And once I no longer were in the elected office, then you were one of the first people I talked to about some of the party positions I held. Vice chair of the Michigan Democratic Party, and now the chair of the Oakland County Democratic Party. Barbara, I cannot thank you enough for all you've done, the opening the eyes that I have, as well as one thing I want to say quickly. Barbara is a person that reaches back. She makes sure that there's others coming along, and she has always extended herself to others. To her family, Al, Lynn, and Pat, I want to thank you for sharing Barbara with us. I want to thank you for letting Barbara spend the time, the teaching, the encouraging, the time to explain to people how to move forward. Without her, there are many who would not have understood this process and how to move forward in it. But when they mentioned about Barbara playing the harp, the one thing I do remember, when Barbara left City Council, she was real clear that she was no longer going to be active, and all she was going to do is play her harp. So I think, Barbara, maybe one day you'll get to play your harp.
And now, from the city of Lathrop Village, Kelly Garrett, Mayor.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. I'm not going to read the proclamation, but I want to say I met Miss Barbara in 1982. I was a baby. I was still in my mother's room, actually, but no. In 1982, and I was forced from my father to work on her campaign at 12 years old. So when we talk about what Nancy was saying about reaching back, Ms. Barbara really has done that for me. After every, whether I won or whether I lost, every single campaign that I've had, Ms. Barbara has sent me a text to tell me to keep my head up, keep God first, and keep trying, because she knew I was going to run for something else. No. And then I was looking through my emails just a minute ago, and the funniest one I have is that Ms. Barbara came to my defense. To the Southfield Sun, she sent an email because they did not have my name right. And she admonished them because they did not have where it said Mayor Michael Garrett in their ad. And I was like, I didn't even see that. So I appreciate you having my back all the time. So I'm just going to read a little bit of this, and I just wanted to just make sure that you knew how much I really do appreciate you. I appreciate you being in my corner. I appreciate you encouraging me. And seriously, if you're in any type of position where you can encourage another young woman or young man, do it. It's not going to hurt you at all. So therefore, let it be known that we recognize the deep commitment and service of Barbara E. Talley and her love for this community, understanding full well that because of her, the Southfield area is a better place to live, learn, and grow. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Michael Kelly Garrett, Mayor of the City of Lathrop Village, and on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of Lathrop Village, we appreciate the wonderful work and enthusiasm that you have for this community. Thank you.
Well, Barbara, now either you're going to have to get a larger apartment or take some things down. The city of Southfield wouldn't be without a resolution either. And too bad the Congresswoman left, because I was going to tell her, just do it larger. You know? But in the interest of time, I'm here with Council President Ari Mandelbaum, and we would like to present this to you. It details all of the things that have been said about Barbara. I think probably one of the things that was sort of maybe glossed over a little bit was that when Barbara left City Council, she was on a mission for something else. She spent 6 years on City Council, and then we had racial steering in the real estate business here, and Barbara and others worked with the fair housing to make sure that we had realtors that were steering people below 10, if you were a person of color, below 10 mile, if you were Caucasian, above. And this is one of the things that Barbara worked very hard to address, fair housing for all. So Barbara, we present you with this.
I'll just add that ever since I've been on the City Council, every time I run into Ms. Talley, she's always very encouraging, and as she is with many of the other council members, very encouraging and very helpful in giving us suggestions and telling us what we're doing good and bad. So thank you for your encouragement and your support. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, so it's time for the honoree. Oh, excuse me. We have an introduction of the honoree. Sorry.
Now, you know, we could not have the honoree speak until we introduce her. So I have the great privilege and honor of doing so. My name is Dorothy Dean, and I'm very proud to be introducing Barbara Talley. We are a nation born upon the fundamental principle that all people should be created equal and have the unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We have in our midst a woman who has fought to make available the fundamental rights of equity and justice for all in Barbara Talley. When she was elected as the first African American to Southfield City Council in 1983, she did not rest upon her laurels. She rolled up her sleeves and worked with the city to elevate men and women and sought equitable hiring in city, fire, and police personnel. She did not rest upon her laurels. She went on to bring the community leaders of every race, creed, and religion together and establish the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force. She did not rest on her laurels. Just establishing the task force was not enough. She brought to the community youth programs to forge her way to our young leaders, such as the Freedom Rides, which you heard about earlier. And not only the Freedom Rides, they provided the history and explanations of the civil rights movement. The Freedom Rides were across the nation, from Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Georgia King Center, to the hotel in Tennessee where Dr. King was assassinated. She brought trainings on nonviolence by the Atlanta King Center trainers who offered it to young people in Southeast Michigan area. There was an exhibit on the Pathways to Freedom in collaboration with both American and Mexican professors. She did not rest on her laurels. She coordinated a peace mission to Liberia, West Africa, and conducted several workshops for teenagers who fought in the Liberian Civil War. She did not rest on her laurels. She went on to author a book, Pathways to Interfaith Dialogue, an innovative model of peace and community buildings. This lady, Barbara Talley, she earned her Bachelor of Science degree from Wayne State University and Master's in Public Administration from Central Michigan University. She retired from Oakland County government as a senior financial analyst. She is a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, the Southfield Alumni Chapter, the Southfield Historical Society, the National Congress of Black Women of Oakland County, and Hope United Methodist Church. She has received many awards, including the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Club, Drum Major for Justice Award for the Beloved Community, Distinguished Warrior from the Urban League of Detroit, Southeast Michigan. It takes an extraordinary woman to perform all of these extraordinary tasks. Please stand and give a very warm welcome to our very own Mother of Civil Rights, and I present to you and let us receive the Honorable Barbara E. Talley.
I guess you are tired of hearing about Barbara Talley, because I'm tired of hearing about Barbara Talley. Oh, goodness, I have my speech here, and I'm going to be quick about it because some things have already been talked about. I'm honored, deeply honored, to be recognized today for my contributions to the city of Southfield. And I want to thank all the organizations, and I have them all here. And thank you for bestowing upon me this recognition. Next, I want to thank my dear husband, Alfred Talley, for his constant support and counseling and putting up with me for these many, many years. I did not like him. We went to grade school together. I did not like him because he beat up my brother. As I reflect on my journey, I am reminded of the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., who once said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." And I can tell you that my journey has certainly had many times with both challenge and controversy. I was the first African American in the city to be elected to any public office in 1983. That was 40 years ago, serving on the city council for 2 terms. And listen to this. According to the 1980 U.S. Census, there were only 28% African Americans in Southfield at that time. Can you imagine? The next African American to serve on city council was appointed in 1991, and the next elected person was in 1997, 14 years after my election. In addition, I am well pleased about my volunteer community service, and I worked in Southfield over the years and to be recognized. I was born in Detroit, Michigan, and at the age, I graduated from the High School of Commerce. I don't know if you remember where that was, downtown. And at 17, I got a job as a typist at the Detroit Tank Arsenal. I later married
my sweetheart, childhood sweetheart, Alfred Talley. Because of his work in restaurant management, in 1961, our family moved from Detroit to California, where I worked for the state of California and then had my own stenographer business. During the time my husband was promoted in the restaurant management field, we were able to purchase a home in one of the suburbs of Los Angeles. However, the owner refused to sell the house to us because we were black, and he said we would ruin the neighborhood. We offered to buy the house at the asking price. We took the owner to court and sued him under the new Fair Housing Act of 1968. To further my husband's career, we moved to New York and later to Southfield in 1971. In 1971, there were about 1% African Americans here in Southfield. We bought a house and we thought, here we go again. We will not be welcome to this area. However, we were greeted by a man named Kenneth Siver, who is now, where is he? And others who lived in the neighborhood. I attended colleges in the evenings, and we've talked about that, a bachelor's degree in business administration from Wayne State University and a master's degree from public administration from Central Michigan University. As a senior financial analyst for Oakland County government, I was the first African American in the budget department. When I was an active member of the Detroit City Councilwoman Irma Henderson organization's Women's Council of Concerns, I was honored to meet and shake the hands of Nelson Mandela from South Africa when he visited Detroit and met with Councilwoman Irma Henderson. When I turned my attention then to Southfield instead of Detroit and became aware of the lack of diversity on the city council and started attending city council meetings for a year, learning more about the city, and became a community activist. In 1983, when Councilwoman Lillian Jaffe Oaks decided to retire, she asked me to run for her seat, especially after talking to my mentor, Detroit Councilwoman Irma Henderson. I ran and was elected and served 6 years on the city council. Those who managed my first campaign and at different times were Henrine Prater, Douglas Ross, Jonice Butler, Nancy Quarles, and of course, Alfred Talley. People you might be familiar with who helped me are the late State Representative Maxine Berman, and those who are now elected officials, Janet Jackson, Oakland County Commissioner, U.S. Senator Gary Peters, and former Fifth Circuit Court Judge Denise Langford Morris. At that time, the city of Southfield was predominantly white, Jewish, and Chaldean by a significant margin. And racial issues were sometimes present because they wanted to keep it that way. Despite the obstacles, I am proud of the work I accomplished as a member of the City Council. I initiated the Affirmative Action Plan, resulting in hiring the first minority police and fire management and personnel, and elevating women in city government. At that time, there were no African Americans in either the police or fire department, And with the help of Robert Willis and the Northern Oakland County Branch NAACP, we were able to recruit African Americans as police officers and to a newly established police cadet program. I also helped to establish the Southfield Total Living Commission, which is in progress today, is responsible for making recommendations to the council to promote the excellence of Southfield as a place to live and work and raise a family. This commission was created in response to residents' concern about low-income housing being approved in the city. And I'm proud of the role I played in helping to resolve that issue in 1977. After being on City Council, I was the executive director of the Center of Hope Open Housing and overcome racial barriers dealing with fair housing in Oakland County. I was the first African American to run for mayor of Southfield, and I lost by less than 100 votes. I am proud of the courage it took to run and the barriers it broke down for future candidates. One of the proudest achievements is the founding of the Dr. Martin Luther King Task Force, and we've talked about that so many times, and we've put together a committee to observe the plan and activity. And we had the first peace walk, and it drew more than 1,000 persons. Statements were signed by more than 400. We had 400 walkers and sent to U.S. President Ronald Reagan and Soviet President Gorbachev about our concern for peace during the Cold War. In 1987, I, along with the late Irma B. Cooper, traveled to Atlanta, Georgia, and met with Mrs. Corette Scott King about the formation of the task force and solicited her advice and input on the activities of our organization. You know, and we've talked about how we have grown to be the largest peace walk and program in the state of Michigan. And we expanded it with a taste fest and food drive originated by Barbara Purify Selden. 2023 was our 38th peace walk. We've already talked about the Freedom Rides going to the South. We had those young people going with us, and the nonviolence programs that we have and still do, pattern after Mahatma Gandhi of India, who inspired movements for civil rights across the world. I initiated having a bust of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the library and the street named after him. We talked about the Pathways to Freedom exhibit that we had between Michigan and the U.S. and Guerrero, Mexico, and bring the story of the civil rights movement in Mexico to the English-speaking world. The exhibit made its debut at the Charles H. Wright Museum in 2012, and it was displayed in many places in Michigan, and it's now in the museum in San Diego, California. During the 90s, I worked as the executive director of Core City Neighborhoods in Detroit and was involved with the building of the Dr. Martin Luther King apartments for people of low and moderate income, and also volunteered for the Fair Housing Center of Metropolitan Detroit. And it's something that Dr. Carlisle Fielding Stewart is not here, because I said to raise your hand, but you did hear from him on the screen. and we organized a Southfield Interfaith Dialogue Group. More than 30 clergy or their representatives gathered for prayer, dialogue, and community projects for 5 years. This was the age of deep suspicion of Muslims and continuing rifts between Jews and Christians here in Southfield. This group provided a forum for learning more about these different religions. Reverend Renee Coles was a pastor of the group, and I think there she is over there. In 2009, I was fondly named Mother of Southfield. And now I hear that I'm called Mother of Civil Rights. I helped my daughter in 2010. I helped my daughter, Patricia Ann Talley, who is a professor of international business in Zihuatanejo, Mexico. The task force established the Amiga de la Paz Peace and Tourism Program in Mexico in collaboration with May Peace Prevail on Earth International Foundation, represented by Master Charles Kim and Jennifer Kim from the Peace Center in Chicago. Are they here this afternoon? Okay. Oh, there they are. There they are. The task force also formed the International Relations Committee, which Patricia chairs, and in collaboration with Club Rotary of Mexico, peace poles are being erected throughout Mexico. A peace pole was placed on the grounds of Hope United Methodist Church, the first peace pole in the city. Learning from my experience, I authored a book entitled Pathways to Interfaith Dialogue, an innovative model for peace and community building. My daughter, Ashlyn Talley, designed the book cover. I also founded and volunteered for the Detroit Renaissance Peace Center located at Hope United Methodist Church. I traveled in 2009 to Liberia, located on the West Africa coast, as part of a peace mission and reconciliation of people in Liberia's civil war, and mentored young men who fought in the war. We also had a meeting with the President, Ellen Sirleaf of Liberia. I was an adjunct professor at Siena Heights University and also lectured, conducted workshops, and mentored aspiring politicians, as I continue to do even to this day. During my time of Southfield City Council, it and the mayor worked diligently to grow and maintain a modern city of beautiful homes and golden skyscrapers, such as the First Town Center, phases 1, 2, and 3, the Lear Corporation, and a residential population of almost 75,000 people. Today, Southfield is home to a daytime population of more than 175,000 people and a thriving international business community. Today, 68% of residents are African Americans. Southfield is the 15th largest city in Michigan and continues to stand out as a suburb that has been inclusive and economically stable, and is called the All-American City and the center of it all. Today, 20% of all Oakland County companies are based in Southfield. I continue I continue to watch the Southfield City Council meetings and sometimes write the members to express my opinion about the passage of their policies and resolutions in action. An example, I requested the company that is rebuilding where Northland was to hire some African American contractors, as Jim Jenkins and I did when the Southfield Public Library was being built. Of the mayor, that's right, that we want some African Americans to be hired at that Northland. Of the mayor and city council members during 1983 to 1989, I am aware of only 3 of us who are still alive. Former Mayor Donald Fracassi and council member, my friend Susan Goldstein, and myself. I am an active member, and I can just skip this because you've heard all what I'm an active member of, all of these. But one in particular that you might not have heard of is the advisor for Michigan Reading and Math Performance Program, which is having its fundraiser in October. As I am with a group representing 6 Southfield organizations that have compiled a 160-page book entitled A Tribute to Barack H. Obama, Our Story Inspired Your Story Inspired Our Story. It is with both transcription of organizations here in Southfield and photos. You will be notified of the VIP reception to unveil the book and hope you will attend. I am indeed proud and blessed of all that I have accomplished, and I could not have done it without the support of my family, my friends, colleagues, and all of you who have mentored and supported me throughout my career. I thank Councilman Daniel Brightwell, Dorothy Dean, Esquire, co-chairs, and Robert and Roger Gooseby for all the work that they have done and those who have helped for this extraordinary event. I want to express my gratitude once again to the many organizations that sponsored this event. I want to thank the Southfield City Council, the Southfield government staff, John McCrea and Mike Mannion, whom I have worked with over the years, and Cable 15 staff. Again, special thanks from the Talley and the Garner families to all the organizations for having this event to honor me. I thank all of you for an opportunity for me to share my history and thoughts with you. Let us continue to promote peace, one piece at a time, and reduce gun violence in the United States. In closing, may we stand firm as we pray for peace for our families and for our city, for our country and the world. For in our prayers lies the power to sow seeds of harmony and understanding that can transcend boundaries and bring forth a brighter future for all. It is through our collective actions that we can shape a better tomorrow for all. Again, thank all of you for attending this event today. And finally, I thank God for continuing to direct me in all my endeavors at almost 92 years old. Thank you. Thank you.
A photo area in the back with all of the logos of all of the different organizations that participated in this tribute. We have an instant camera. If you'd like to take an instant photo and make a brief statement of remarks thanking Barbara Talley, you can do so before you leave. We have food that will be available. I'd like to thank Southfield City Council, Marlon Taylor, who is the caterer, Benny Scott, who is our photographer and did editing on our video, All Pro Color banners for the banners and the programs, and Hope United Methodist Church for all of the assistance they provided in providing the invocation, Fred Zorn from the city of Southfield, Tella Soroke with the city of Southfield and staff, and Russell, I believe, took her stead and has been very helpful throughout the weekend. Family Affair, Purdy Reynolds, who did all of the beautiful decorations and flowers here. Chiara Clayton, the soloist. Jim Hall with Southfield Multimedia Services. It's my understanding they're going to try to publish this on Thursday of this week, so you can get to watch this on Channel 15. And the Alex White Trio in the back. We have a special gift for Mrs. Talley from Cheryl Timms of the Southfield Lathrop Village Optimist Club. And thank you to our timekeepers who kept us on track as much as they could, even though they had the stop sign. Some people kept going. But thank you to Fran Snyder, Carolyn Nichols, and Jennifer Matthews for trying to keep us on track. If you're a member of the MLK Task Force, please stand as well. I see Judge Bill Richards and his wife. Thank you for coming, and you were a vital part of our organization. And with that, I'm going to just say thank you to everyone. Thank you. Oh, do you want to present this? We have an Outstanding Service Award from all of the organizations to Mrs. Talley in recognition of her 40 years of promoting justice and equality in the community. So she is being packed with all sorts of gifts today. Thank you.
And in closing, I know it's time, I just want to thank you all again for joining us for this wonderful tribute. I want to thank all our sponsors and just all those who cared enough to stop by today or who couldn't make it and left their well wishes. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll now enjoy musical selections from the James Shelton Trio. Alex couldn't be with us tonight. Have a good evening, drive safely, enjoy some refreshments. Thank you.
This way too, please.